What's going on, people? How y'all doing on this Saturday, man? Y'all see the title of this video. Talk about the West Coast drought and just other important stuff that's just been going on. The world is so crazy right now that each and every person, we need to stick together, hold each other down, watch each other back. It's critical out here right now in these streets, out here in this world. So we get into a little bit of video that I want to share with you guys about what is going on. And even like previous videos from like months ago to even give us like notice of what's about to happen.
The drought in the U.S. West is getting more severe and spreading northward into the agricultural regions of the Dakotas and beyond. Corn and soybean prices were already elevated due to the sharply increased demand from China in the second half of 2020. The worsening of the drought in the Dakotas may mean that crop yields at harvest time may be below average and put further pressure on prices. Water levels in California and the Colorado River Valley are affected and require conservation efforts to handle the water emergency. Water prices in California, as measured by the NASDAQ Bella's California Water Index, are already rising. Electricity in several western states are at risk too, as levels retreat in Lakes Mead and Powell. They generate.
I watched the video on Lake Mead too this morning, and the water level compared to what it was, I think the video said like 2010 to maybe like a couple months ago when they did this video, it was extremely low from what it once was.
Huge amounts of hydropower. If we have less electricity in the summer months, prices may rise. Coupled with the dry conditions, any heat wave in California or the U.S. West has the potential to create large and devastating fires. Look for a volatile summer.
And this was on channel is this. I think they give shout out Bloomberg Markets and Finance channel. Also, man, it's impacting so much stuff. Like the water shortage alone is bad enough because people need drinking water, and these reservoirs are completely empty. Matter of fact, this is one from in Utah, Gunnison Reservoir. This is the KSL News.
The rich and powerful want us to think the economy. So why not a stock market ticker? That's wrong. Have the details of that coming up.
All right, thanks a lot, Kristen.
Well, I've never seen this before. Gunnison Reservoir near Sterling in St. Pete County is now listed at 0% capacity.
That reservoir is mostly used for agriculture, but it's another example of the drought we're in. News specialist Alex Cabrero spoke with a farmer who draws water from Gunnison and wonders what this means going forward.
It can be tough to tell if you didn't know, but there's supposed to be a lot of water here.
Yeah, this year is something different. This is something I've never seen before.
In the past week, Gunnison Reservoir in St. Pete County dried up. It's now listed at 0% capacity.
Yeah.
Zero. This man is literally standing in the dirt where the water is supposed to be. And even at the Mead reservoir, the guy, he was explaining, he was like, man, you couldn't even stand right here. He was like, the water would be way over the head. You wouldn't even just be able to stand right here. And this is what we're facing right now. Food and water droughts. Wheat, rice, a lot of our food is generated from the West. And also, they just need drinking water. And the water is just evaporating and just going away. And it's not raining. The snow is melting on the mountains. that holds the extra water that comes down the spring. It's supposed to fill the rivers and streams. It carries that water over to the reservoir. Is not doing that anymore.
Yeah, and Stan Jensen is worried because he's a farmer in nearby center field. Although he gets water from several sources, Gunnison Reservoir is normally a big one.
Instead of having all my water on, I've got my smallest irrigator on part of the time, and that's all I can do.
Normally, you'd see corn and other crops growing this time of year on his farm, but like the reservoir, this year, it looks a lot different.
That shouldn't be brown. That should just be lush and green, and it should be all the way up to our knees or a little above it with just this beautiful green alfalfa.
It also means a lot of farm vehicles sitting silent, and projects like this house Jensen was building for his family put on hold.
You don't dare sink yourself in too deep of a hole.
And for as shocking as it is to see a reservoir go dry, Utah's Division of Water Resources says it may not be the last one this year.
There are a few that are projected to run out of water this year, particularly in the Sevier River Basin. Paiute and Otter Creek, I believe, are two others that are projected to go to zero.
There's also really nothing that can be done to reverse that course this year, unless we get several big rainstorms. Right now, the water we're using in Utah is mostly snowpack from past years.
This is all from probably 2019, maybe some from 2020. We're living off of previous year's stored water, and that's why our reservoirs we're seeing, some record low levels.
That is crazy. And it's just getting worse and worse and worse everywhere. This is from 3 days ago. Lake Oroville expected to fall so low that hydropower plant will shut down. And these people, they really, really need this water. It's crazy.
Is so low that officials will likely have to close the power plant there. This would be the first time ever that dry conditions force that plant to close. Livecopter 3 was overhead this afternoon, and you can see how low it is. This is the state's second largest reservoir. The water here is pumped through underground facilities to generate electricity. At full capacity, that produces enough power for 800,000 homes. But state water officials say if the water level is too low, those turbines will not be able to turn. And our chief meteorologist, Mark Fine, has been closely monitoring the situation. So how much time do you think we have left before they have to shut this down?
It's a matter of weeks, and I'll show you the timeline here in just a minute. But first, I want to just point out that this will be the first time that the power plant has ever been shut down. It was also shut down in 2017. That's when crews were working to reconstruct the spillway there. I'm sure you all remember that. But this will be the first time that it has to shut down because of low water levels. And what we're going to see is a record low on Lake Oroville. Let me show you where we are. Keep in mind that when I show you these numbers, when Lake Oroville is full, it's at 900 feet. As of today, it's at 668. Way down, and it's continuing to drop, of course. And by the time we get to about 2 weeks from now, it'll be down to 647. The reason I wanted to point out that number, that is the record low on Lake Oroville. We did that back in November of 14, hitting 647. The power plant would shut down once the lake got down to 640 feet, and right now, I'd estimate that'll happen in that first week of August. And of course, from there, it will continue to drop until we get back into the rain season. So we are going to see very low levels on Lake Oroville and no power coming out of the high power plant. Back to you.
Mark, thank you. And of course, Lake Oroville is not the only reservoir that is sitting very low right now. In our area, Folsom Lake is at 27% of capacity, Lake Shasta at 36%, New Melones at 48% of capacity. Statewide, 50 counties are currently under a drought emergency, and Governor Newsom has asked all Californians to voluntarily curb their water use by 15%.
That is crazy. These are the times that we're living in. Got droughts, and you can't get to the daggone the fires, and the fires are even more worse this year than ever. and the wildlife is suffering. You got mad wildlife suffering from all of this that's going on, that's happening. And this is news from Channel 4 News. I guess this is in California as well. Talking about more than 70 wildfires burning across the U.S. West Coast right now. And I'm pretty sure that may be a record too, because I think it was over 130 or 124,000 acres have been burnt. I think that was maybe like 3 or 4 days ago. And last year, I think it was like 72,000. So it's about to maybe double and triple. We ain't even hit August yet. And I've never been to the West Coast. I've never been to California or Oregon. You know what I'm saying? I've been in the Midwest. But I don't know how the weather is out there. They always say it's always sunny. It never rains in Southern California. At least that's what Tony said in that song. So it's hot as hell, especially in Vegas. But also they have to figure that once you start cutting down all these trees, the rainforest is pretty much afterthought. All of our ecosystems are dying. And to what cause for our children, our grandchildren, and our children's children? At what cause? This is why we see these CEOs of these major corporations. I didn't touch on Virgil Mobile because I forgot about him too. Flying in space. These billionaires are actually trying to think about the Jetsons' life. Yes. It's an 80s cartoon, The Jetsons. Never watched the Jetsons? I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all watched the Jetsons before or even heard of the Jetsons. They recently had a movie. Matter of fact, they probably will. Dang, I'm not monetized anyways. But this is the Jetsons thing. So some of it, I'm gonna play some. And they're actually like flying around in their like spaceship cars. Yeah. Houses that are float on like little poles or something. Yeah. You try to give her a couple dollars, she took the whole wallet. Anyway, George Jetson worked at Space These Sprockets. So, you got this going on.
5, 3, 2, 1. Release. Fire.
Replace old pipes? I could do that.
Install energy efficient windows.
But This is him talking.
We are back now, 7:40 with our exclusive interview with Richard Branson and Shirisha Bandla, his fellow astronaut on that historic flight over the weekend. They're among the first tourists crossing the barrier into space more than 50 miles above Earth on board Virgin Galactic's Unity spacecraft. It's the culmination of a lifetime of daredevil events and high-profile stunts for the billionaire businessman. We remember these, famously attempting and setting sail records for the fastest Atlantic Ocean crossing. That was back in '86. 5 years later, oh, nothing. He just broke a hot air balloon record, crossing the Pacific from Japan to the Arctic, reaching speeds of 245 miles an hour. But it was all leading up to his latest feat. Branson and a crew of 5 others, rewarded for their pioneering spirit, 4 minutes of weightless joy in space. And
I wonder how many slaves his family.
Spectacular view of Earth that few have ever seen before they touch down safely in New Mexico. And we are joined now by Richard Branson.
I love that picture, Shirisha, looking out down at the world.
I mean, I got chills just reading all that about you. And before we get into the flight, because I can't wait to get into it, something that Tom Costello said yesterday struck me about you. He said, by your own count, you have cheated death 75 times. 75 times. So I was curious, what's the closest you've come, and why do you keep doing these things that put you so...
I think I cheated death a couple times too. I ain't gonna get into that. Especially not on the internet.
Close to the edge.
Well, first of all, I have a very friendly star up there that seems to somehow get me home. I think the closest, I suspect, was in some of those big balloon adventures when I think I've got the record for being pulled out of the sea 5 times by helicopters.
5 times.
But the reason I do it is I've just find that saying yes is a hell of a lot more fun than saying no. And if somebody says, we could be the...
Saying no is saying no to us black folks wanting to make progressions in your company. He didn't have not one black person on that spaceship or that ship. He had that mixed girl. She don't really count. She ain't even Black American, African American, or whatever, you know what I'm saying, whatever. So she doesn't count. We're talking about like what, $500,000 to go to space, to ride. I'm not gonna get into all of that because I don't want to get no strikes. They probably gonna strike anyway, just for playing stuff anyway. But you see the example. Hold up, who's out? Bezos. And you got this motherfucker wanting to go to goddamn space.
Download your meditation videos and unwind uninterrupted.
Commercials,
Try
man.
YouTube Premium.
I need to get
on us.
monetized too. Can I get commercials?
Jeff Bezos is going to space. The founder of Amazon is flying in a rocket built by his space company, Blue Origin. But while he's the richest billionaire to head to space, he's not the first. So who is winning the billionaire space race? Who's going higher and who's going further? It's
the billionaire space race. Maybe because all of these things is going on in the world. You got all of this global warming. You got the massive, terrible drought that I was explaining in the West Coast right now. What's going on? I haven't even gotten into stuff going on in Africa and Haiti, and in Europe with the flood in Europe. Also, the folks that seem to have been forgotten over the last couple of weeks in Florida that got buried under that collapsed apartment building. There's a lot going on in the world right now. There is a lot, and there's a lot of questions, and there are absolutely no answers to nothing that's going on right now. And we got COVID, and they're talking about the Delta variant, and every day on the news you keep hearing about unvaccinated or the spike in the COVID. Who knows if some of those people have taken the shot? They don't know. People that have taken the shot, they haven't taken account of those people. Maybe those people did get it, and they just aren't counting it because they don't want no one to know that the vaccine is ineffective. So let's continue talking about Bezos and the rich folks. Billionaires. Go along, get along gang. In the corporate world, going to space.
Space billionaire summer, let's break it down. At the start of June, Jeff Bezos posted a video on Instagram announcing he would be flying to space with his brother, Mark Bezos, on July 20. The two brothers are flying on the maiden crewed voyage for Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket. But just when Bezos thought he would be the first billionaire into space, in swoops Richard Branson. At the start of July, the billionaire founder of Virgin Galactic announced he was going to space 9 days before Bezos on July 11. You'd be forgiven for thinking that space is just riddled with billionaires right now, all flying around and bumping into each other in their gold spacesuits. And that's before we've even gotten to Elon Musk and SpaceX. So what are all these companies doing? Well, let's start with Jeff Bezos and Blue Origin.
The whole breakdown, ain't that something?
Founded back in 2000, Blue Origin says its goal is to build a world where humans live and work in space. Bezos has even built...
Y'all just heard that, right? Y'all thought I was playing when I was saying that they was talking about some jets and stuff. George Jetson. Yeah, this is happening. They're trying to make this happen. They know that this global warming and the slow, well, it ain't even slow no more, because the destruction of the world is, I can't say the destruction of the world is amongst us, I can scare everybody like that, but we just see everything that's fucking happening, and there's going to be unrest and turmoil everywhere because there's going to be famine, people going to be thirsty, the money ain't flowing the way they want it to, because guess what? COVID is back again. And stuff is either going to be slowing back down or they're going to shut down again. Or, like I was saying in my last video, they're going to have the military coming through and all of the unvaccinated will mandatorily get vaccinated. This is some real life stuff right here. And let's continue some of this. I'm not going to play too much of it because, like I said, I don't want this video to get taken down. I want y'all to see this. Y'all can't see it, but I want y'all to hear it.
About humanity one day populating giant floating space colonies with their own transport systems and weather. The company is developing a number of spacecraft, but this is the one taking Bezos to space. New Shepard, a reusable suborbital rocket designed to take short trips just beyond the boundary of space. New Shepard has done 15 test flights.
And I've always said, watching movies and TV, I said in my last video, imagery is everything. They gave us these images. That's an 80s cartoon. The Jetsons is an 80s cartoon. They giving us these images. Just like with the Flintstones, they gave us the images of prehistoric times and how they were trying to figure out and make cars and using feet for their brakes and all this stuff. You know, they probably didn't put that through. But it was an idea to just show you, like, okay, the innovation and how we're trying to push forward in the world, and gives you that whole perspective in your mind. Okay, this is where we're going. Knight Rider, talking cars, and we are almost in the Knight Rider stages where the cars can drive. Well, actually, we are, because cars can drive by themselves. They can't jump over other cars and all that, but we're in that era. Imagery is everything. Perspective is everything. So I say, they brainwash us with images and all of that. So stay hip, stay woke, stay 10 toes down, stay 3, 4, 5 steps ahead. Always know that someone knows what's going on out here. I'm a Scorpio born October 27th. Sometimes I feel as though I have dreams. I go in places where it's like, damn, I've been in this whole situation already. Like, and I've seen it before. And it just feels like the whole everything is, it's like a instant replay of a dream. Some of this stuff that's going on just feels like it's a goddamn dream, because it's like, man, they put all of this stuff in our face. Is this potentially going to happen? Will this happen? But it's almost like they're playing this game, or playing this movie out called Revelations. And my uncle was a pastor. He always just preach about Revelations, trying to prepare us for the world. I suppose, I don't know. This is like the '90s until he passed away, in like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, before he stopped being a pastor. So it's like, man, what are they going to do next? They built all this stuff, cut all the trees down, and they just kept cutting the trees down. They kept cutting them down. They knew if they destroyed the ecosystem, then they could get I don't know, the ending that they wanted, or the new beginning they want. I guess that's why it's called the New World Order. But it's a conspiracy, right? Allegedly, I don't know. Now I sound like Kwame Brown. No, it won't sound like Kwame Brown. But it's facts, and it's crazy to actually really think about the joint. You break it down. It's like, hey, everything that's going on in the world. What is going on? Who is actually planning these events? Because there's a whole gematria channel, and they have ritual dates for everything, because everything is by the numbers, like murder by the numbers. It's like 666 is devil and all that. This stuff is real. I didn't even really, well, I can't say I didn't believe in the freaking, damn, what is it? The astrology stuff. Like, I don't believe in like getting your palm read and all that. Nah, I ain't talking about that stuff. I'm talking about just like reading the horoscope and how the moon shifts and the sun and all of this stuff that goes on and strawberry moons and stuff. They all have meaning, and everyone's personality is what the book says each sign of a person is. And I know a lot of people that are all different signs, and there's a lot of people that don't mesh together. There's a lot of people that do mesh together. There's a lot of people that work well together, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? And it's so crazy to where as though like you can read it, you may not believe it. Each and every day, something in accordance, whether if it's not played out immediately, but in somehow some strange, meticulous, mysterious way. I'm not gonna hold y'all up too long, you know what I'm saying? But I wanted to come on here today to like talk about a real topic. The world is in trouble. I listen to I'm subscribed to this channel. I've been subscribed to this channel for a minute. Canadian Prepper. Go subscribe to this channel, watch this channel, get some information. Find this one particular video that he had. I just wanted to play a little bit of it for you guys. Let's see if they didn't pull it. I think they may have pulled it. I think they pulled it. I don't even see it up here on this channel. Oh, yeah, here it is. All right. Everybody has commercials.
I've lived in this province for 30 years and I've never seen what I'm seeing right now. And I'm becoming very concerned that we're being lied to about how serious the situation is. This is a disaster waiting to happen. This is dry, old, dead grass. There's no new growth right now. There's yellows, browns, a little bit of green, but not a whole lot. For this time of year, that is incredibly rare. We have had some unseasonably high temperatures this year. We've blown all records off the charts, especially for consecutive hot days. So not so much in the hottest temperatures ever recorded, even though we've had those too, but the bigger effect is in the consecutive high heat days. So how many days have we logged plus 30? Well, the next 2 weeks, it's supposed to be plus 30 every day, which wouldn't be that exceptional if we hadn't already had the season that we've already had, if it hasn't been so dry, if there hasn't been forest fires left and right. And for the last 5 to 7 years, I don't ever recall a season that we've had in those years without forest fire smoke. And years prior to that, I don't think I've seen forest fire smoke. You know,
so it's severely on a different level. breathing. This air, the air quality is horrible. So, yeah, I'm gonna get at you guys later, man.